Hey, welcome to a new rainy Project Kamp update. So we basically bought this piece of land and are prototyping a more sustainable way of living. Not sure how it's gonna go, but let's see. And in the previous update you might have seen it does rain in Portugal. And that we're waiting for our containers. And this week is actually raining a lot. So it's a good time to just observe the land and see what the water actually does to it. So let's start by here. This is completely flooded right now. And there's a little creek at the end. So let's have a look how full that is. And maybe you remember this creek. I showed it in the second update. And back then it was raining a lot, but you actually didn't see any difference. So here's the little creek. And it's not even that much fuller, even though it rains all the time. And I was kind of amazed by that. That all the rain that fell didn't really affect the water level of the creek. But as you can see now, yeah, it rained a lot and it did affect the creek. Now this complete area is flooded. Do you think it's a soap tree? So this water basically comes from a stream, but it's also being amplified here by all the water from our own land running off into this creek. So I'm kind of curious to see where it actually leaks water, our land, and where is it coming from and whether we can change that. So the overflow of the creek basically is the lowest point of the land. But in order to understand where the water comes from, we kind of need to go up and see where the water leaks until it finally ends up here. So for instance here you see some water flowing and it comes up from there, flowing right there into the creek. Another stream where you see the little streams of the road coming together here to go to the lowest point. Another stream right down there. Another stream in the middle of the road going to the lowest point. Another downside of not maintaining your water properly, it erodes the roads, so sand goes down. Then there's another big stream here, and it's really deep, this stream. A lot of water, because it comes from this hill right here, and also a little bit of this road. And then this water is flowing down here. So this road was recently cleaned and fixed, so they put some bluish gravel here. And the old road is still like yellowish, but now you can actually see very well the flow of the water and the gravel. So when it rains a lot, it really goes whoosh, takes all the water and the gravel with it. And in order to prevent the water puddles on the road, every now and then you see this, sometimes made by humans, sometimes by nature. But that the water can flow away, creating these little streams. A few weeks ago a neighbor or local guy asked if he could have a sheep walking around on our land. And this is the result of that. Looks nice. Sounds different, no? Pouring hot water compared to cold water. So I started to document all the streams I could find on the land into a map. So let me show you. So here you can see the land, and the blue lines are all the streams I found so far. And the bigger the line, the bigger the water flow of the stream. So it's mainly to see where all the streams are, whether they are all the time, to keep an eye on it, and to see if there are any patterns. And maybe also it's possible to divert some or to combine some together into a bigger stream. So yeah, it's just to sort of keep track of the water flows of the land. But now I know where the water from the creek comes from all these little streams. But I got curious, where do these little streams come from? because they're even flowing when it's not raining, and we can see the top of the hill, so what is there. So I'm curious what happens if I just follow a stream. So I start down at the creek and go all the way up until I found the beginning. I don't know, kind of curious, so I'm gonna check it out. So right there is the creek. And then you have some water flowing from here through the bushes, which goes there. Down here is very soggy, so kind of overflowing and water everywhere. But you can see a stream coming from here. Then another accumulation right there. You see some water coming, but I don't know how to get there. Quite a lot of water flowing here. So I'm now in the middle of these bushes. I hear the water flowing, but I can't see it. So I might have to go up a bit more to really see it flowing. It follows along this rock line. Flows here and comes from up there. So here it becomes a bit bushy again. Now deep into the bushes. And now we're actually at the main road. So we came from down there. The water accumulates here on the road, and it also comes together from there and from here. Because you see the water coming from actually out there. We're almost at the highest point, so I guess at some point we need to see the beginning. Slowing right up there. Flows between the rocks from up there. Now we come to the more rocky area of the land. So the water is still flowing here. But you can see it's already a much smaller stream, and it also comes from a few places like here, here. So slowly fading out the stream. So let's try to follow one of these smaller streams. Comes from the bush right there. So now we're basically on top of the hill, and here you can see pretty well where the water comes from. Because I guess in your mind you would like to see this big spring or river where it flows from, but it's not like that. Here, let me show you. So here you still see, for instance, a bit of water flowing. Then if you follow it up, still flowing a little bit. As you can see there, the water. Go up a bit more. Here is very little water flowing, but some. It goes here, here, and then here is basically just, I don't know, still water almost. And that's kind of how these things start. You just have this patch of land that absorbs the water and slowly releases it, creating these little streams that come together, accumulate, becomes a bigger stream, it becomes a little river, a creek, and that's how all the water flows off the land into the little creek. So you might wonder, like, what does it matter if your water flows off your land? Because there's enough, right? Yeah, at the moment there's an abundance of water here because it's winter, but in the summer you would also have dry months. So you kind of want to make sure you have enough water then. And if all the water flows off your land now, well, it doesn't come back in the summer dry months. So it's kind of important to make sure you keep water on your land and make sure it doesn't flow into a creek, in a river, into the ocean, but really retaining the water. And just because we made it all the way up here, shot of the view. So a good way to store your surplus of water is in a lake. And they're basically like a battery for your land. You can have, when you have an abundance of water, you fill it up there, and in the moment you need it, you can take it out again. But as you can see here, the lake didn't really get that much fuller. So in a way, something could be improved here. Instead of the water flowing out to the creek, it should first fill up this thing, our battery, and then flow off the land. So we still have some water retainment work to do. So you might wonder, why are you walking around in the rain? I thought you were waiting for the containers to come. True, and last update the roads were cleaned. However, on top of being the roads cleaned, they also need to be dry. And up until now it's been very rainy. And we need to have a few days in a row where it's dry, so the soil is not muddy and the truck doesn't like slip away. So until then, I guess I have to amuse myself with other things. So if the roads are still not dry next time, I think we're gonna clean up that lake, which seems like quite an interesting task. If you wanna follow our updates, make sure to subscribe. If you wanna see all the updates, have a look at this playlist. And if you like what we do, make sure to visit support.projectkamp.com. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.